Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the highlight of your week. Once again, it is the live garden party with Escaping the Suburbs. I'm Scott, your host, as always, 100% AI free. And I see we have a few people in the room already. Can't see who all of you are. You have to say hi in the chat for me to know that you're here. But the text is Gypsy, aka my dad, is here. So, hello, Dad. How are you doing? Good evening, garden partiers from Northeast Texas. So, what is going on? I had a few ideas what I thought I'd do tonight. Start off with, I'm going to tell you everything that I've got planned for tonight. So, I'll kind of read the agenda. There's some things we want to talk about in our time tonight. Try to keep it under an hour, and we'll see how we do on that. But a major development from our YouTube guru and mentor, Rob the Maritimer. And he's given us a lot to think about with his recent video and his recent live stream. I want to talk about his controversial claim. I think he's right, but we'll see. We'll talk about that. But Rob the Maritimer made a major controversial claim this week that probably affects everybody who's doing YouTube. So we'll get to that right away. I want to talk a little bit about the change to the release schedule on the videos that we talked about last week and I put into place this weekend. And we'll see how that's going so far, if we're seeing any difference or not really. I want to talk about my painful decision I made to delist some of my more popular videos that were not anything to do with what my niche is. Do you folks hear traffic? I've got the windows open because it's gorgeous outside. It's a balmy 64 degrees here in South Florida. Let me know if you're hearing the traffic outside. Somebody's revving his engine, but whatever. But I will talk about that painful decision to delist some of my more popular videos in a minute. I'll talk about an idea I have for my videos possibly needing a story, and we'll get into that. I really want to hear your feedback on that. I think all of you have seen my new thumbnail design. I'll just show you that quickly and talk about the pain of updating the thumbnail on 65 videos. I don't recommend it. A new segment I want to do, we'll try it out this week and we'll see how it goes. It's called Trail News. So I'll share with you some trail news I've collected. And I will try to get to our nature reading that we didn't get to last week. So let's see who's in the chat so far. I see that CL Fantasy Waves made it. I am so glad to see you. Been enjoying your channel. You've been doing some cool stuff over on your channel lately. Keep it up. And Old Faithful Lori is here, one of our 2 subscribing members. And Lori, I'm going to want feedback from you because I think that one of the things that Rob the Maritimer's controversial post talked about may impact the idea to make early access videos. We'll see if that sticks around or not. I don't know. If it makes any of you want to not be subscribers anymore, I totally understand. We'll see what happens. Let's just jump into that. And I see my dad has said hi to everybody. So about an hour and a half ago, I watched Daniel at DG Outdoor. What's his channel called? DG Outdoors channel. He did a live stream tonight at 6 p.m. starting up 2 hours ago, and he went about an hour long. It was really nice. I saw CL and Lori in there. A lot of gun talk in there. And then his guest kind of went off on a political tangent there. So, you know, hey, it's his channel. He can do what he wants to do. We don't really go into that stuff here. But I thought Daniel was extremely relaxed, and he seemed so natural on his live stream compared to, if you guys remember, the rough start from his first one. Man, he's just improved miles and miles. Do you guys agree? You two who were there with me, CL, Lori? There were some folks in there that I didn't recognize, but it was cool to see them on there. and meet them, I guess, a little bit. But don't you agree? Wasn't Daniel just super, super smooth and relaxed in his live stream? I was just so impressed and so proud of that guy. He's doing great. Okay, let me jump into Rob, the Maritimer's controversial. Oh, you had to bail out before the political piece jumped in? Yeah. No, it's not a major deal. It's just that his guest is very strongly swayed to one side. And I'm sure you can guess when they start the video talking about firearms and guns. It's probably easy to, predict. And that's fine if they want to talk about that kind of stuff. Totally cool with me. I don't care. They seem like nice people. Yeah, he's gotten very comfortable. Exactly. Daniel just, well, I sent him a message after his live stream and I said how relaxed and easygoing he seemed. And he said he was just talking to one of his longtime friends. So he was just as if he was talking to one of his friends on the phone anyway. So that's a good sign. And maybe that's a key for all of us, is to have somebody we already know pretty well on as a guest. If you're going to do a live stream with a guest early on, do it with somebody that we know, because it was like talking on the phone. All right, so let's just jump right into this. Oh, and hey, Granny, glad you made it. That's okay. It's all right to be late. We were just talking about the DG Outdoors live stream 2 hours ago. Daniel, he was so relaxed and easygoing. It was really nice to see. All right, so I want to talk about this controversial wild claim that Rob, the Maritimer, made on his most recent video, and then his live stream spent 2.5 hours talking about it. He says that when you upload a video to YouTube, and as you know, you have the choice to make it public immediately, or you can make it private, or you can make it something called unlisted, or you can schedule it for the future. Unlisted means that if somebody has the link to it, they can see the video. If it's private, people can't find the video. They can't see it. They've recently added the ability to invite specific people with an email address to a private video just to view it. But Rob's claim is that if you upload a video and you make it unlisted, YouTube starts doing its testing routine. You know, the beginning of a video's life, it's pushed out to subscribers, and then it's pushed out to a wider audience, and then a wider audience, and depending on how many people watch it, it may not make it past the first level, or may not make it past the second level. Rob's contention is, if you make a video private, YouTube doesn't start any of that stuff, and until you make it public, YouTube acts as if the video doesn't exist. But if you make the video unlisted and leave it unlisted for a while, and then later make it public, then it's already gone through its time. Its clock has already started. So it's already missed some of the initial push that YouTube does by showing the video and suggesting the video on notifications, feeds, putting on people's home pages. Now, I was very skeptical about this because YouTube specifically tells us when you're uploading the video, you can make it private or you can make it unlisted. Why would they tell us to put it unlisted if it was going to hurt us and harm our ability to have the video be seen by people when we finally make it public? But I did a lot of research between the time I watched his video on Monday and the time he went to his live stream on Tuesday. I ran the question through about 5 different AIs. Is it AIs or 5 AI? What's the plural of AI? Artificial intelligences. Artificial intelligentsia. I know it's going to seem very hard to believe and shocking, but Rob's claim was backed up by all of the AI that I researched it through, and I asked all of these AIs to give me links to prove what their claims were, and they gave me links to articles that I followed and read, and sure enough, people like vidIQ, TubeBuddy, all these YouTube gurus highly recommend make a video, either make it public if you're ready for it to go. If you've made the video and you've got your thumbnail done and your description's all ready and you want it to go live right now, just make it public. And then it goes through its routine and everybody sees it. And if you're not ready, make it private. Don't use unlisted. Because going private, it doesn't do anything until you, and then when you make it public, everybody sees it and it does the push. And with all this AI agreeing with it, 5 different AIs, including YouTube's own built-in AI, by the way, agreeing. And then all the articles I could find. This is a major shock, and to me, this is huge news. So here was my reaction. Here's what I did in reaction. Well, first, I'll tell you what. This is kind of crazy. Let me see if anybody here is commenting on this insanity. No, anybody? Yeah. Lori, I'm going to get into that. How have the views been on my videos? I'm going to get into that because I made the change to the schedule last weekend, pushed a video out on Saturday morning. We'll talk about any change I've seen on that. But I also want to talk about what I did in reaction to Rob's earth-shattering claim, if true. I had 5 videos that I had uploaded and prepared and were ready to go. And by the way, I had asked Rob, what do you do? What happens if I make a video visible to my subscribing members like Lori and Daniel who've subscribed for $1 a month? I made it so you guys could see a video earlier. How does that impact anything? And he never really got around to answering that question. And I had asked that question in the video's comments, and he said he was going to talk about it, but he didn't get a chance, unfortunately. You know, at his live streams, he's got a lot of questions come in, so he doesn't see them all. So I didn't get an answer on what happens with videos that I've made only available to subscribing members and then later goes to public. But here's what I did. The 5 videos that I had already uploaded and they were sitting in my queue waiting to go. They were scheduled. And I think you guys might have seen them a week ago when I was showing them off. They were scheduled for like 2 years in advance, but they had spent some time in their life already as unlisted. So if Rob is right, and Lori, you say I tend to believe what Rob is saying is true, and I'll explain. Give me a minute and try to explain. Go ahead and take your time to type it out. But here's the thing. My videos that I had uploaded had already spent some time of their life being unlisted. And if what Rob says is true, that was suicide for those videos. That means when I made them public in the future, they're not going to be pushed out and shown to anybody. And I've been experiencing extremely low, what do you call, not click-through rate, but impressions, extremely low impressions. My video's just not being shown to anybody. I'll make a video public, like for the past 15, 20 videos, they're just not shown or suggested to anybody. And my videos have just been lingering, you know, in the 20 or 30 range, maybe 40 on some videos, but 20, 25, 33, 29. And in the past, I used to get up to the 90s and 100s and 150s and 200s. So I tend to think Rob's right. I think making a video unlisted for a certain amount of time and then private or then scheduled and then later public kills any chance that video has for a future. So what I did was I deleted 5 videos from my channel and that have never been released yet. I re-uploaded them fresh. And I gave them new descriptions and nearly similar titles. And I used the same thumbnail that I had originally built for them. And they went straight to private. As soon as I uploaded them, I went straight to private. So this will be a good test as I start to release 1, 2, 3, 4, the next 5 videos. If they do better, we'll find out. And I also made the video that had previously been live to Lori, the one that the thumbnail says vampire on it. That one had been through the ringer as well on the unlisted. What I ended up doing was deleting the one that Lori had seen and re-uploading a new video with the same thumbnail and the same description and a similar title. And it's doing pretty well. Like in one day, it's got 13 views, which I know is nothing. 13 is nothing. I'm still a very tiny channel in the grand scheme of things, but it's a lot better than it used to be. Previously, I'd have like 4 videos or something. So this kind of upsets the test. We had been planning on testing going to Saturday mornings or possibly Sunday and seeing what that does to things. But now we've introduced 2 changes. And when you introduce 2 changes in any kind of troubleshooting or testing, you muddy the waters and you don't know which change affected the results that you're going to see. So if I see great results now, on new videos. Is it because I went to Saturday? Or is it because I'm following Rob's advice and going to private? Or maybe there's a combined effect I'll see. I don't know. But I want to hear from those of you who have channels, Granny, Lori, CL. If you had heard what Rob had said, if you'd seen his video, what are your thoughts on that? It does sound crazy initially to say, why would putting a video to unlisted first hurt anything? Rob insists it's true. vidIQ actually did a test in which they took multiple channels, unrelated channels, and uploaded identical videos with identical titles and identical thumbnails on 2 different channels and made one private, one unlisted, and then 5 days later went live. And the ones that were private first, they did way better. The ones that were unlisted first only got like 60% less impressions or something. So vidIQ, who seems to know what they're talking about, did a semi-scientific test, and yeah, CL, I agree. You lose the control factor if you make more than one change at a time, and you see a change in results. You don't know which of the changes caused the result to change, or possibly, it could be something unrelated to either one of your changes, but you don't know because you've made more than one change. But here's my choices. I'm going to stop using the unlisted. I'm definitely going to follow Rob's advice and use private instead of unlisted, because everything I can find, the documentation-wise and test-wise, says he's right. I'm going to make that change. I could go back to putting videos out on Monday, so now I've only changed one thing. I've only changed the private unlisted thing. But at this point, I think I'm already kind of committed to the weekend upload, or maybe even a Friday afternoon upload. Maybe Friday afternoon is the time to go. And then I catch Friday afternoon people, weekend folks. And then starting Monday can just be shorts that were clipped out of those long form videos. So yeah, you already know this whole thing, don't you, CL? System testing and analysis. Yeah. Me too, in a way. I'm in IT, and I do technical support for engineering. And when there's a problem, you don't change 2 things when you're troubleshooting. So that's a lesson you learn early on, is don't change more than one thing when you're doing troubleshooting. You'll never know what you fixed when you get success. So, but that said, this is not a medical test we're doing here. It's just a dumb YouTube channel with just 20 views a week, or 20 views a channel. So why not? I'm going to take Rob's advice and start using private on the new videos I've uploaded. I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to do. I'm curious if you guys are going to make any change to your channels. Are you going to use private only instead of unlisted? Now, on the topic of members videos, I think what I'm going to start doing, instead of making all of my videos early access a week early like I was doing, I'm going to make member-specific videos that are geared only towards members, and they'll be the only ones who can see them. And maybe those videos will become public eventually down the road, but I'm going to probably just create member-only content for anybody who wants to be a signed-on member. And I'm afraid to publish a video that I want a wide audience to see to members only first, because if Rob is right, it breaks it. So that's that. All right, let's think of another topic. But you guys let me know in the comments if you agree with Rob. Do you think Rob's crazy? I have decided I believe him enough to make a change to my behavior. So going back to Lori's point about the change to the schedule, let's go ahead and take a look at the browser here. These videos, okay, these ones up here at the top are the ones that are private now. So this first one here that's at the top now, as I've scrolled it, this is a public video, and it went live on the 8th, which was Saturday morning. So this is the first one for our test. This is the first video on our new launch schedule. And going by this line, it's about the same. Didn't really make a big change. You can see the blue line for this video is within the range of usual for your videos. It's on the low side of the range that's usual for videos, but that could also be a result of the topic, or it could be a result of the thumbnail. How to discard stress and anxiety fast. Maybe that doesn't appeal to too many people. I don't know. But I'm going to continue on that subject there. So, yeah, you've never used Unlisted. Well, maybe that's a good thing. I was just publishing as soon as I had the video done. I only recently started scheduling them. I didn't see any changes. Yeah, I would. Well, under Rob's guidelines, you wouldn't see any changes because both of those are advisable and both of those methods are fine. Publishing as soon as it's ready, or scheduling it and letting it go out when its time is up, is, according to Rob, both of them are great. So you wouldn't see a change. The main change is if you had been using Unlisted, and you said you weren't. So I'm going to keep this. Let's see, what do I have the next one scheduled for? Did I make one scheduled? No, I did not. I think I'm going to let my next video come out, and it'll probably be a Friday afternoon. I think I'm going to start using a Friday afternoon, like at 5 p.m. or something, so we catch the folks at the end of their week. When they come home, they can watch it on a Friday night, and if they don't get a chance to look at YouTube until Saturday morning, that video would be suggested to them. So probably going to be this one, Trail Wisdom versus Trail Quotes. Real depth or just sounding deep? So that's the video I plan on showing everybody on Friday, 2 days hence. Let me know if you think that's a good idea. If you think that's okay. I know we talked about Saturday mornings and maybe even trying a Sunday at noon or something, but I'm kind of landing on Friday afternoon. Possibly that's because some of the channels I watch a lot do Friday afternoons, and maybe I think it works for them, it'll work for me. But honestly, the common wisdom is that it doesn't matter when you release them. People are going to see them when they get logged on. So maybe this is just a big waste of time to worry about it and doesn't make any difference. Okay, I want to talk about the painful decision to delist some very popular videos that I had. I was trying to decide if my channel is kind of failing to launch or if I just haven't given it enough time yet. Since pivoting to a new niche or topic, since pivoting to what our channel is about here, which is helping stressed souls try to find peace by getting out into green spaces and into nature and getting escaping the suburbs, as it were. I thought I'd had about 100 videos out already, but as I went back and counted how many videos are actually on topic, since doing the pivot in April, I only had about 65 videos, a lot less than I thought. And I think that's not enough for the video really, or for the channel really to have started to kick off and take off. So I thought I had more, videos in the bank than I did. So I don't have as many videos put out as I thought I did. I've only got about 65. So I guess that means it's too early to think this whole thing's been a failure, right? And usually when people are about to give up, that's when things might be about to go. So it's always time to keep trying and never time to quit. But it's definitely too early to quit for me with this channel. It's only at 65. The two videos that were very, very popular that I delisted and made them private so they're no longer part of the channel is one was how to change your taillight on my car. I made a video on how to change your taillight on my particular model of Ford Escape. Boy, that video did great. But the problem is, people who search for that, because it's really hard and difficult to get that taillight out of the car so you can change it. Once you get it out, it's simple. But it's a real pain, and it's not obvious how to get that thing out. So people go on YouTube and search, how do I change my taillight? They find my video, they watch it, they're happy. That's one view. but they never come back for the rest of our content. They're not here for our community. They don't come here to the live stream. They don't talk about what we talk about. They're not about getting out into nature and getting away from the chaos of the city. So why keep that video on the channel? So I delisted it, and it was painful because it was a popular video. But the other one was I did a review of my Kindle, right? This Kindle that I got last February, currently reading the complete works of Julius Caesar. I did a review of that, and at the time, that was pretty new. I think it was only a month. It only come out a month before. And the video did very well because people are looking and they're shopping. And, you know, when you do a gear video, I said this to Daniel when he did it. Hey, that's some good news. HWH Collective, super nice to have you here. Welcome. I think this might be the first time you dropped in on us. I am really glad to hear that stress video that I just made had an impact on you. That is some good news. That is great. HWH, I'm just talking about a couple of videos that I've made private recently, so I'm glad you're here. Welcome. I would go and introduce you to all the folks who are in the chat, but why don't you say hi to them and get to know them yourself, because we're all on the same page here. So yeah, I delisted that Kindle video, and it's painful to delist two videos that did really well, but the honesty is they don't have anything to do with what we talk about here. The stress relief, you know, how to clear your mind and clear out the cobwebs that we get from living in this stressful environment. You know, I don't believe humans aren't meant to live elbow to elbow next to each other with the sound of traffic right outside your door and retail shops 200 feet away. You got to get out into nature and out into the trails, go hiking or camping or walking or driving, or somehow get yourself out into green spaces. And a review of a Kindle, although it was a popular video, nothing to do with the channel. So I delisted that. So I'm kind of curious, those of you, Lori, CL, Granny, those of you who've had the similar, who have videos on your channels that have nothing to do with what your channel's really about, have you ever delisted one? Have you gone through that painful process of knocking it out? You guys hearing that siren outside? There's an ambulance going by. Like I said, I got my windows open because we're down to 64 degrees here. So, oh my goodness, every fire department, every fire truck in the world's going by. Let me get caught up on the chat here and see if I've missed something. When I first launched my channel, this is Lori. By the way, HWH, if you haven't been to Lori's Soul Circle, super cool channel. I want to put a link to a couple of channels here in our chat. Because Lori's is definitely somebody you want to go check out, as is CL. Because if you think that stress video that I put out spoke to you, these two fine ladies are kind of talking in the same language here. So let's see here. When I first launched my channel, I had a different name and slightly different direction. Then I had to take a 5-month pause for a work project. When I came back, I rebranded. New name, refined niche, and unlisted about 16 of my older videos. Fast forward to early October, and my impressions tanked. I ran everything I could through 2 different AI tools, and both of them came back with the same diagnosis. The algorithm was confused. It was still reading my old channel name, my old content, and the new content together. Basically, treating it like 2 different channels mashed into one. And when the algorithm gets confused, it stops pushing your videos. The recommendation was to either delete or fully privatize those old videos. So I did the tedious cleanup, updated all the metadata on the videos I do want pushed, and got everything aligned. And I imagine Lori might still be typing the rest of that story to us, so we'll wait for that. And let's see if I miss anything else. By the way, HWH, you got a shout out from the Tex is Gypsy in Northeast Texas. Spoiler alert, the Texas Gypsy is my dad. So say hi to my dad, HWH. if you're still here. CL says, I haven't delisted any videos. I think some of my early videos with crafts confused the algorithm. I've stayed consistent with acrylic painting and photography. Yeah, that's good. I think that crafts, any kind of crafts, probably work within a niche. If you want to focus on acrylic painting and photography and occasionally do any kind of other craft, I think it's kind of in the same, like, for example, those figurines, your Warhammer figurines that you painted and stuff. That would still, in my mind, still be in your niche. Um, you know, it's funny, right? Your channel could almost be called CL Fantasy Crafts or something like that. CL Fantasy Waves is cool because you always post waves and you always post a wave emoji, and you're by the ocean up there in the Panhandle. And that makes sense. But when somebody looks at CL Fantasy Waves, they probably don't know what the video or what the channel's about from the name. So they have to watch some of your videos or something to figure it out, Yeah, check those out when you get a chance. No rush on that, but I think you would enjoy them. And saying hi to my dad. Oh, you're in Southeast Texas. Awesome. But you grew up around Dallas. Awesome. You guys are virtually neighbors, only 1,000 miles apart. Very cool. Okay. Along with, as I said, here, let me show you also. Along with, as I said, delisting those videos, which was painful, I did a thumbnail rebrand. And as you can see, I can probably zoom this in a little bit for you. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so you can see I've gone with kind of like it's the same, it's actually the same branding that's on the main part of the channel. So when I made a new banner and came up with a new text style, which I really kind of like the look of, and I've also, in the live stream, I've also used that for the beginning screen, which is here of my live stream, and the end screen of my live stream that looks like this. So I'm using the same kind of text with the drop shadow look on it. So I went ahead and made my thumbnails all match. And I got to tell you, with those 65 videos that were already out, it was tedious to go back and make new thumbnails. And you can see some of the really old videos, they have a common orange. They still have the old orange logo, but that's because they're part of a series. They're part of a playlist where I went on a trip around Lake Okeechobee to visit as many parks as I could around Lake Okeechobee. So I got to tell you, I don't recommend updating new thumbnails to a new design for 65 videos. It was quite tedious and not fun. But I did it. I did it for you. Okay, let me get caught up here. Granny, speaking of the cold weather here, HWH, if you don't know Granny's Corner, her channel is called, the actual name of her channel, because if you look for Granny's Corner, there's like 100 channels called Granny's Corner, but if you look for Granny's Southern Corner, you'll find her easily. She's really sweet. She's got a lot of neat stuff there. She is in the chat as well. Granny says, did you have any of the iguanas fall out on you during the cold snap? No. I didn't even see any iguanas in the street or the road. But yeah, when it does get chilly down here, absolutely true. The iguanas start to die off. Lori is now finishing up her typing exercise. So that's a long-winded way of saying AI told me never leave a video as unlisted if you do not want the algorithm to look at it. So going back to what Rob said, that's your point, right? And that's why you said you tend to believe what Rob said, because you had all these videos that you didn't want to be part of your channel as unlisted, but the algorithm was still looking at them and still using that to try and figure out what your channel is about. And it was mixed up because the videos that you thought were no longer part of the mix were part of the mix, the unlisted videos. So by the time your videos got published, Scott, YouTube probably thinks no one is interested since your views were so low for the week. Yeah, exactly. You make a video unlisted and 2 or 3 people see it, or one person sees it, or you make it members only and one person looks at it, and a week later, when you make it public, YouTube's already decided nobody wants to watch this. Even his subscribers don't watch this, So, hey, Daniel, glad you made it, buddy. We talked at the beginning of our live stream about your live stream. So, after we're over here, you might want to go back and watch from the beginning. We talked about your live stream. I thought you did a great job. It was really fun listening to you talk to your friend. I never did catch his name other than the name of his channel, American. What was it? Man, I bet it's in my history. American Defender. That was it. Yeah, that was really nice watching. But more impressive than him as a guest was your demeanor in your live stream. You were so relaxed, so easygoing. It was so nice to watch you just having fun talking to a friend. You did great, and really enjoyed it. So after this live stream is over, Daniel, go back to the beginning and rewatch a replay of this so you can hear us talking about you behind your back. HWH, I've driven through a few times talking about Paris, but I've never had the pleasure of spending time there. Well, they have the world's largest Eiffel Tower with a red cowboy hat on top of it, just so you know. So don't miss it. Okay, so Daniel, you've missed a few things, but now that you're here, let me get your feedback on this. Something that I think my videos have been missing is a story. Because all my videos recently, I take you on a little walk as I go out into nature and clear my mind and get out of the suburbs and try to escape the hustle and bustle of suburban or city life, get out into some green spaces, and I talk about how it's beneficial. Talk about clearing your mind, to talk about thinking positive thoughts. I talk about, well, you know what I talk about because you watch the videos. But there's not a story attached to it, and I think maybe the videos might be slightly interesting if my talk is interspersed with some kind of story or mission or quest. Let me give you an example. I thought I would go visit this Saturday a park which just happens to be the source of Cypress Creek. Down here in South Florida, we have a city called Cypress Creek, and we have about 800 different things named Cypress Creek this, and Cypress Creek High School, and Cypress Creek that, and Cypress Creek train station, and Cypress Creek Mall, and Cypress Creek Road. But Cypress Creek itself is a real, actual ancient waterway that existed here before the development, and I thought it would be cool to go find the source, a spring, a natural spring. And this park that I was going to go visit, a nature area, allegedly has the source of Cypress Creek. And I thought it would be kind of cool to do a video in which I still talk about the kind of uplifting, positive message that I try to have. Excuse me. Apologies. You talk for 40 minutes, your voice will eventually give up on you. Come on, voice, get it together. So I go make a video at this park, and I continue to do the same kind of positive message that I'm trying to establish the channel around, but build that around a quest in which I'm at the park, and I explain early on I'm trying to find the source of Cypress Creek, assuming I can even locate the source. That's the idea. A story, a quest, a reason, you might call it a MacGuffin. So give me some feedback on this. Tell me if you think this might add an element of interest or storytelling to the video, because I can think of a lot of different interesting things to hunt for or to try and discover or seek out and see if I can find as part of a story or part of a narrative to intertwine. So I'm not just walking and telling you, things that you may or may not already know, but everybody needs to hear. Like, you got this, and we're all going to make it. And things aren't as bad as they seem. And I know you think things are horrible right now, but will it matter on your deathbed, right? These kind of conversations and talks are important, but I think they might be more interesting if they're interspersed around some kind of story, quest, whatever. So those of you who are doing YouTube or watch a lot of YouTube, you're the ones I want this feedback from. I'm kind of depending on you guys. So let me take a peek at the chat and see what we got here. Let me get backed up and see what's up. CL says hello. DG reminds me that his name was Jim. Okay, Jim from American Defenders. And oh, you're gonna drop your deer rifle sighting video coming out tonight? Good. I've got something to watch after this. Very good. I'm glad. Have to be honest, there seems to be no rhyme or reason to when I put videos up. I put them up immediately, sometimes promote, sometimes don't, delete them at will, have no consistent theme. Full disclosure, I live in Cypress, Texas. Oh, that's what a funny coincidence. Hey, HWH, let me grab your channel and put the link in the chat. See, the problem is when you guys are in the chat there, you can't see each other's channels unless you manually go to the. But I, as the live streamer, I can click a channel and go to it. So there's the link to HWH. If you have a different name you want to go by besides HWH, let us know. Otherwise, I'll just call you that. All right, let's get caught up a little bit on. Let's get caught up a little bit on the chat again. By the way, folks, I reached out to Monica this week. Good, so did I, twice. She's still not feeling well. Life has been testing her. Maybe if everyone could take a minute later and offer up a prayer. Absolutely. I was chatting with her earlier today, and she's got a lot to think about with her health. I think the health is going to impact her channel, and she may have to rethink the direction. So she may have to come up with something different she wants to do. Monica, if you get a chance to watch this, we are all thinking of you, and we're all praying for you. And we know you're going to get through this. You got this. How many times have I said it? You got this. But thank you, Lori, for bringing that up. In fact, she's on my notes to bring up, but I'm glad you brought her up early, so we don't have to forget. Granny says, that's kind of what I do as well. I'm new to this and have no tech skill. And, I don't think there's anything wrong with this, HWH. There's no rhyme or reason to when I put videos up. I put them up immediately, sometimes promote, sometimes don't, delete them at will, have no consistent theme. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it would be good to have a consistent theme. I think having a consistent theme is probably important, but it's really tough to decide what you want that to be. And coming up with what you want your channel to be about, or what you want your channel to be, you can just make random videos all the time, but everybody knows that kind of makes it tough for YouTube to find your audience, right? Let me get caught up on the chat. I'm sorry here. I'm kind of going all over the place here. Yeah, thanks for the info on Lori. Definitely keep her in mind. Agreed here. Yep. Personally have a hard time telling stories, but giving background is always good to do. The way you, Lori, Rob, walk and talk to the camera is something I'm not good at. You know what, Daniel? That's just something you practice. You get better at by doing it. You get better at by doing it. Yep, agreed on that. Story is key. Yeah, Lori, you think if I put some kind of story or thought or something involved in that, maybe might make the video a little bit more interesting, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to give it a try. Yeah, thanks, HWH. Cool. Yeah, mostly ambient music. Okay, cool. And we can call you Slow. All right, everybody. HWH is Slow. All right. What I want to do with you folks real quick is a new segment. I'm going to introduce a new segment. So this is something new I'm going to try out. I did some research, and I'm going to call this segment Trail News. I'd like to hear from you in the chat if you think this is interesting, or if you think this is Not interesting to you. I looked all over the country and found all kinds of information. So what I'll probably do is end up snipping this into its own video that'll come out, once a week as well, called and maybe it needs to be something more like once a month or something. Trail news. So welcome to trail news for the week of November 22. No, the week. See, I'm already messing up. Welcome to trail news for the week of November 12th, 2025. If you have any trail news from your area, please email it to me at escapingthesuburbs@gmail.com. So from North Carolina, as of October 21st, from the city of Wake Forest, the Wake County Board of Commissioners on Monday approved the expansion of outdoor recreation opportunities and the protection of natural spaces for residents and visitors. The board voted to lease a portion of William B. Umstead State Park for new trails and to award a construction contract for the new Kellam-Wyatt County Park project. The kitty cat wants to get up here with us. Come here. Nope, she doesn't interested. These two projects represent Wake County's ongoing commitment to expanding access to high-quality parks, trails, and open spaces, said Susan Evans, chair of Wake County Board of Commissioners. Whether you enjoy mountain biking, gardening, hiking, or simply being outdoors, these investments will ensure more residents can experience the benefits of nature close to home. The site is located north of I-40 and is adjacent to the existing 286 property that the county already leases from the Raleigh-Durham Airport Authority, and it'll offer dual-use trails for hiking and other recreational activities. The 7-year lease ends in 2032. The annual lease payment of, and I think this might be a typo on their webpage, but maybe not. The annual lease payment of $1 will be absorbed into the county's existing operating budget. Hey, listen, Wake County, if it's $1, I got you covered. Wake County will design, construct, and maintain the new trails, which will help replace the mountain biking network previously located at Lake Crabtree County Park. From Tulsa, Oklahoma, as of November 7th, and this comes from KTUL in Tulsa, the Gilcrease Museum is planning to open roughly 14 miles of new trails for hiking, mountain biking, and nature exploration on 400 acres adjacent to the museum. The project, managed by Tulsa Parks, is scheduled to welcome visitors in early 2027. The new trails will expand outdoor access in Tulsa, which currently boasts more than 150 miles of trails across the city, including popular spots like Turkey Mountain Urban Wilderness Area, Chandler Park, and Katy Trail. City officials say the trails will feature paths for all skill levels, encouraging families, hikers, and cyclists to explore the area safely. Tulsa Parks will ensure the trails remain accessible and environmentally sustainable. The museum and park officials hope the new network will become a destination for recreation, fitness, and community engagement. So that sounds exciting for Tulsa. From Claremont County, Ohio, a new suspension bridge, and I saw pictures of this, it looks really nice. A new suspension bridge at the Wilson Nature Preserve in Claremont County is now open to the public, offering visitors a scenic crossing over the East Fork Little Miami River. Did you know there's a Miami, Ohio? And it leads to a 25-acre island. The bridge also provides access to a brand new 1-mile trail. Hang on a second, folks. Let me look at something. Okay. So in the coming months, invasive plants will be cleared from the island with assistance from the new Park and Recreation Management Program at Great Oaks. From Sparta, Michigan, September 18th, 2025, a new 3.5-mile walking trail has opened at Sparta Sports Park. Try saying that 10 times fast. Adding hiking to the recreational activities, The trail was created by local couple Katie and Tim Shelton over the past couple of years with help from community volunteers. We knew that there were woods around here and dirt trails, so we literally came out with loppers, clippers, and chainsaw, and we found a trail. We made a trail through here, Katie Shelton said. We had help from a man named Tim Clay who had a grubber. I never knew there was a grubber, and it'll take a tree down and just down, Shelton said. I would love to hear it in Shelton's voice. To help visitors navigate the trail, volunteers have marked the path with signs and are installing maps throughout the route. 8 large map signs will be placed at different sections so hikers know the location on the trail. And last but not least, from Denver, Colorado, as of November 11th, there's 2 new loop trails open in Evergreen. 8 years have passed since a hugely popular dog park closed at Elk Meadow Park in Evergreen. The area was loved by dog owners for the scenic mountain views and more than 100 acres for dogs to run and explore. However, the park closed in 2017 because of water contamination and erosion. During the closure, crews completed a large-scale restoration and revegetation, according to a sign along one of the new trails. Now that area has reopened with 2 loop trails covering 3 miles and 8,000-foot Jenkins Peak. The trails start at the new Stagecoach Trailhead. To get there, just walk across Stagecoach Boulevard to find the trailhead sign and map. There's 2 options. There's the Jenkins Peak Trail and the Bobcat Loop. And dogs are allowed, but you got to keep them on a leash. And the Stagecoach Trail location is the same as it always was. From I-70, take Highway 74, about 5 miles to Stagecoach Boulevard. Drive a mile to the trailhead on your right. The trailhead has maps and bathrooms. Very important. And just cross Stagecoach Boulevard to find the new trails. And if you want to look it up on Google, it's at 32281 Stagecoach Boulevard in Evergreen. And that is your trail news for the week of November 12th, 2025. If you have any trail news from your area, please email it to me at escapingthesuburbs@gmail.com. So, with all that said, I have a couple things. Let's see if you guys have any comments here. You hear Suzuki. Boy, that cat was wailing. In fact, I need to take about a 30-second break because my wife just got home early, and I need to go see if she needs help getting inside the house real quick. So you guys, if you don't mind chatting for a second, that's why the kitty cat Suzuki was wailing, because she hears her outside. So I'll be back in 30 seconds. Let me play you a piece of music. All right. All good on the home front. My wife got home early. She's usually out until the top of the hour or so, maybe 1:15. So let's see what we've been talking about in the chat. Let's see. Dad says, you can call me by my nickname, Sonny. And as Scott said, I'm his dad. So we also share the last name Auld, which is Scottish for old. That is true. Oh, I lost my place. Where was I in the chat? Let's see. I lost my place. Here we go. What? I lost my place. Here we are. Okay. Think you may have lost audio. Maybe I did. Maybe it was you. Not sure. I sometimes don't have a story for a piece of art. It's more fun to slip in the videos where the cats photobomb me. Yeah. I remember that. That's always funny. Yeah, maybe. And Lori could still hear me, so that's a good thing. It'd be bad if I was sitting there reading the trail news all that time and no audio was coming through. That'd be bad. Yeah, so Suzuki was wailing because Suzuki knew that Mrs. Escaping the Suburbs was coming home and outside, and she thinks it's time to eat. Kitty Cat eats at the top of the hour, so it's about time for her to eat. She'll eat soon. And Lori missed what we were reading. So yeah, here's the thing. I was trying a new segment called Trail News, and I'm going to do some research and just try to find some outdoors and trail news that I can share with you, and just share some news once in a while. If there's any local news to your area, I would appreciate you guys either sending me a message in either Facebook or in YouTube Messenger. Well, there's no YouTube Messenger, as a comment on a YouTube video, or you can escaping the suburbs at gmail.com does work. So if you do have any interesting news of some trails in your area, I am searching for that kind of stuff. So look who's here. Tyler probably dropped in there in the middle of that news and said, what the heck is wrong with this channel? He's reading the news. What's he doing? But Tyler, the king of the log cabin, is here. Yeah, so you guys still talking about the audio. Sounds like the audio got fixed. That's good news. I'm great. Dad likes that fractal of light music that I was playing for you a second there. Everybody's saying hi. DG liked the news. That's good. I'm glad. Like I said, I might take it and clip it as its own little mini video. And it could become like a regular thing or something. Who knows? Might be useful. Might be at least useful to the people in Wake Forest and Claremont and someplace in Colorado. And yes, indeed, Tex is in Northeast Texas. I'm sure he answered that already. Hello, Waves. I'm eating some zebra cakes. You and your little snack cakes, buddy. Man, you should buy some stock in Little Debbie. I'm telling you what. Yeah, the Northern Lights are supposed to come out real strong tonight, Tyler, right? Does anybody know what time is a good time to go look? Should we be looking like at 10 or 11, or do we have to wait till after midnight or something for that? I forget. I don't know. Yep. Here's the world tour. So, Lori, to answer your question, where I got the news, I created a Google News alert. In Google, you can search for Google News alerts if you want. You can type phrases or words that you're interested in, and Google will email you, and you can say, I want it every day, or I want an email once a week, or whatever, on any topic. So, for example, I have Google set to send me news about my city. I have the road that I live on, is the road that I live on, and the area I live in. I have Google alerts for that. So if there's any crime reports or anything like that, I see it in the news. Any topic you're interested in, you can create a Google News alert. So I created a Google News alert that alerts me if a news story gets published with the words trail, closed, or open. That's where I got the news. And I let that run for a week, and those stories that I read to you earlier are from that. So, Tex, I bet you got some stories. DG, I was telling him the other day that he should be doing a video channel. I said, you should do one of those grandpa-style video channels where you just sit and tell your stories to the phone and put them up on YouTube, and suddenly you got 10 million followers all interested, because trust me, he's got the stories. My daughter travels the country, lots of hiking of national parks, and she always sends me great info. Would something like that work? Absolutely. Anything you get from your daughter on that kind of stuff, please forward that over to me. You can just drop it in a comment of any video, or you can drop it in a comment of one of these old streams. I'll see any comment that you make, or you can email it, escapingthesuburbs@gmail.com. Yes, indeed. And it's time for Dad to bail out because he turns into a pumpkin at the top of the hour. So We will talk to you later, Dad. I'm no king on this cabin build. I'm struggling, but I won't give up because I know my son is counting on me. Yeah, well, have the walls fall down once or twice on you yet? Have you had any walls fall down yet? That'll be the key. You're not a real cabin builder till you've had a wall come down at least once. So when are the Northern Lights supposed to hit? Is it like after midnight or something, like 2:00? I don't know what time. I'll go out and look at them and see if they're here. Down in South Florida, I don't expect it, but you never know. People saw the Northern Lights last night from Arizona, so it's possible. It might work, All right, so the last thing I have for us tonight, and it is getting to be 9:00, and we don't have Geraldine here, but that's okay. And good, you did have a set of your walls fall down. Building a log cabin, if you don't have, hey, you want to come say hi to the live stream?
Yes.
Everybody say hi to Logan.
Hello, everybody. I have a bat.
Are you going to batting practice?
We're going to go smash some pumpkins.
Go Smashing Pumpkins, great band.
Great band.
One of my favorite bands.
One of the best.
Okay, have fun. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Too late.
My youngest son, Logan, who says hi. Who's 81 and has a YouTube channel and doing awesome? Who is? Who are you talking about? I don't know. You have to tell me. You have to put in the comments who that was. My dad's going to be so mad that he had to leave us and sign off, and then his grandson walked by and said hi. So that's great. Okay, one more segment I want to do, and we didn't get to it last week, and that is our nature reading. We have our weekly nature reading, and I know Geraldine always likes it and misses it, and I try to find something in literature or books or some kind of reading about nature. And this one is from The Two Towers, second part of Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. Smash some pumpkins, man. That's a good band. I agree, buddy. What's the best Smashing Pumpkin song? 1970, what was it called? 1974? Billy Corgan. All right, so I'm just going to read this to you, and then we'll talk for a little bit about the nature that we experience. Now, the idea here is that we can, through reading books or literature, we can actually experience what it's like to be inside of nature, even if we're sitting in our house. We got a little map here, and this is a section I'm going to read to you from when the adventurers get to Ithilien, which they start way up here in the Shire. They wander, Rivendell, go through Moria, go to Lothlorien, down the river, get their party split up, and good old Frodo and Sam work their way down here to this little forested area called Ithilien. And whenever somebody posts on Facebook or something and they say, or X, they say, if you could live anywhere in Middle Earth, where would you live? And people always say, the Shire. I want to be in the Shire. I want to be in Gondor. I want to visit Rivendell. I tell you, my answer is always Ithilien. So let's talk about Ithilien. Here we go. This is from chapter 4. The growing light revealed to them a land already less barren and ruinous. The mountains still loomed up ominously on their left, but near at hand they could see the southward road now bearing away from the black roots of the hills and slanting westwards. Beyond it were slopes covered with somber trees like dark clouds, but all about them lay a tumbled heathland, grown and ling with broom and cornel and other shrubs they did not know. Here and there they saw knots of tall pine trees. The hearts of the hobbits rose again a little in spite of the weariness. The air was fresh and fragrant, and it reminded them of the uplands of the North Farthing far away. It seemed good to be reprieved, to walk in a land that had only been for a few years under the dominion of the Dark Lord and was not yet fallen wholly into decay. A couple paragraphs later, the road had been made in a long-lost time, and for perhaps 30 miles below the Morannon, it had been newly repaired. But as it went south, the wild encroached upon it. The handiwork of men of old could still be seen in its straight, sure flight and level course. Now and again it cut its way through hillside slopes or leaped over a stream upon a wide, shapely arch of enduring masonry. But at last all signs of stonework faded, save for a broken pillar here and there peering out of bushes at the side, or old paving stones still lurking amid weeds and moss. Heather and trees and bracken scrambled down and overhung the banks or sprawled out over the surface. It dwindled at last to a country cart road little used, but it did not wind. It held on its own sure course and guided them by the swiftest way. A couple paragraphs later. So they passed into the northern marches of that land that men once called Ithilien, a fair country of climbing woods and swift falling streams. The night became fine under star and round moon, and it seemed to the hobbits that the fragrance of the air grew as they went forward. And from the blowing and muttering of Gollum it seemed that he noticed it too, and did not relish it. At the first signs of day they halted again. They had come to the end of a long cutting, deep and sheer-sided in the middle, by which the road clove its way through a stony ridge. Now they climbed up a westward bank and looked abroad. CL says she has a map of Middle-earth above her desk. The colors are relaxing. I agree. Famous painter named Ted Naismith does a lot of the artwork and painting for a lot of the different calendars and volumes of Lord of the Rings. Ted Naismith, you can just search for that name and you'll see an endless supply. Here's his first sight of Ithilien. I think that the phrase that really steps out for me is the fragrance of the air grew as it went forward. The night became fine under star and round moon, and it seemed to the hobbits that the fragrance of the air grew. I can almost smell it myself. And as you know from my videos, I often remark on how great it smells to be out in pine needles and among the sandy trails down here in South Florida. So, where in Middle Earth would you like to be? As for me, I will take Ithilien. And by the way, CL, you're not the only one. It's kind of hard to see with all the hats I put in there, but that is one of my many maps of Middle Earth up there. So thanks for enjoying that. Now, if you have any suggestions for any nature readings for next week, let me know. Make a comment or drop it maybe during the week. You can leave it in a comment somewhere. I am in the middle of well, I shouldn't say in the middle. I've recently just started reading Beowulf. If I come across any captivating or interesting passages with a good feel for nature, I will share that with us. Otherwise, I'll be on the lookout for something else. So, let's see if we're missing any YouTubers. 1979, that's what it's called. That's right. I said 1974, but you got it, man. My Uncle Chris lives in Tennessee and has a YouTube channel called Rough Cut and Restored, where he built a full-size cabin from the ground up, cut his own logs and everything. Wow. Rough Cut and Restored. Let's take a look at it. Let's go find it. Rough Cut and Restored, he says. Well, come on, clicker. Rough Cut and Restored. Here's the channel. There it is. Wow, that's quite the cabin. I'm more interested in the Chevy pickup, to be honest with you, but I might have to watch the Chevy restoration project. But the cabin looks nice. Looks like a lot of work. That's pretty cool. Let me drop that into the chat so that y'all can have it. I love the smell of trees. Is there anything better than the smell of pine trees? I don't think so. Pine trees and pine needles on the ground making a nice soft carpet for your hiking boots, and maybe the smell of a fireplace might be up there as well. All right, well, I don't want to keep you all too much later. It's already 1/4 past the hour, and I've been online for over an hour, so I will let everybody here go. But thank you so much for dropping in. HWH or Slow, been very nice to have met you, and I hope you'll come back next week. We do these live streams. This is now 3.5 months solid of uninterrupted live streams, so we'll be here for sure again, and it is at 7 o'clock your time since you're in Texas, 8 o'clock Eastern. Usually keep it to about an hour, but maybe I'm running a little bit over because I interrupted myself to go talk and say hi to the boy as he walked his way out. But thanks for dropping in and hanging out. I will see all of you. If you have channels, I'll be watching your channels and enjoying your videos. And watch for a new video coming Friday afternoon. Like I said, it'll probably be the one about real wisdom or fake wisdom. And is there even a difference? When it all comes down to it, is there really even a difference? We'll see. Watch that video. But in the meantime, I will see you in the next live stream or the next video. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.